Okay, so when I look at this pro model, what I notice is I notice in the benefit bubbles that the students have not identified the actual benefit. So for example, it says under outsider in, under that model for school staff, it says the teacher can focus on teaching. So so what I'm seeing is they haven't separated the benefit, the actual benefit from what drives that benefit for that particular stakeholder. And so what I think it means is in this case, again, I think it might be like like a vocabulary piece in terms of like how can we define that benefit using using words, right? Or sometimes using a single term. And so, I mean, looking at this, I think that might be something the students are struggling with because when you actually read the bubbles, that you can tell that the students have a good understanding what both of the models are, and you can tell also that they're able to look at each model from the perspective from the perspective of the stakeholder. So for example, the peace builders, who I'm assuming the students would probably have the least amount of familiarity with the peace builders. They're able to identify that, that the peace builders would be able to, would benefit from the insider out model because they can actually like teach the teachers, and they're able to kind of come up with um, some of the other ones, like especially the one at the bottom in the insider out in the peace builder column says it gives them more opportunities to do restorative practices on different schools, which I think is really insightful actually, because that's probably what they want to do. Like they want to take their process and their message out to as many schools as possible. So I can see from the benefit bubbles that the students do know what the benefits are, but again, like the vocabulary piece of being able to articulate what the benefit is and what drives it, like why is that a benefit, that would kind of be my next step, where I would then maybe build that vocabulary and then kind of take it from there to see if like the students can really be more articulate about like what the actual benefit is for that stakeholder.
Can I add to anything here, if that's okay? Okay, so the reason I want to add is I actually did this challenge as well. And what I'm seeing a lot of is based on the empathy experiences that we did with the classes and the materials provided from, the welcome letter and whatnot, it seems to me like very much the students, when they're writing their benefit bubbles, it's very much repeating what was in that empathy experience video, what was very much in the welcome letter, and was very much what we saw in the videos from Peace Builders saying what their issues are. So when I look at, on the insider out piece, on the Peace Builders, the second benefit bubble, they prefer this because they don't have enough staff. I mean, that's clearly said in the videos. It's clearly said in the welcome letter. So what I'm thinking happened here is the kids are misinterpreting the concept of finding the benefit bubbles, and what they're doing is they're trying to just add in what was already put forward as the problem. And so they're trying to address the problem directly without actually looking a little bit deeper at the benefits that would help address that problem. And so it seems to be a repetitive or almost like a regurgitation of what was already said. So it's not actually potentially getting to the deeper root of the problem. And so what I would do there is actually sit with those groups and actually have those in-depth conversations, because I would let them know that, yes, you're right about what Peace Builders wants, but this is already what they've said their problem is. They don't have enough staff to help. So that has to be where we go a step further, go a bit deeper to address the issue that they've already, again, repeated that Peace Builders has already said.
Can I also just add something? I really wanted to just continue on what Jay was talking about, and I find it really interesting as well that students just tended to give back the same information that they were given, and it really speaks to what this process is not, and how it's really about deeper thinking and a deeper understanding and trying to have our students empathize and put themselves in other people's shoes. And I think that when students are doing that, then we need to really think about the information and the content that we're building before we even begin something like a pro chart.
I could just add one more little thing as well. I'm just looking at one under school staff. I think I'm just thinking of like a move I might do in the classroom, like the teachers can build better relationships with the students. And I might just go like, what does that give the teachers, right? Because, you know, that's great if I can have a better relationship, but what do you mean by that? Like, that's why is that important? What does that give? That's why I really love the language I think it's the language in the original I Think bubble. This gives me, what does it give them? And that's why I try to make that, but I know even in mine, it doesn't always turn up, but that's good data for the teacher in terms of where they need to push their students in terms of critical thinking, to be really succinct. Like, what does that give that school staff? Because that could be a good way to prove their thinking, right? Because they're developing better relationships. But what is it that they're actually getting?